Hello, I'm Shannon Rogers, interviewing Mr. Edward Rogers, co-owner of American Nationwide Mortgage, and I'm just going to be learning a little bit about entrepreneurship and his struggles as well as um, successes in the mortgage industry. Hello.
Hello.
First, I would love to know a little bit about what you do currently in your industry.
Okay, I'm part owner of American Nationwide Mortgage. I'm vice president. My job title is basically operations manager of production and origination of our company.
Okay. And before this current business, how did you start out in entrepreneurship? What was your jobs like before that?
After college, prior to this business, I owned and operated a food wholesale distributorship in Connecticut for 10 years.
Okay. And what made you decide to open up your own business?
I always want to be in business with my brother, and he's been in the finance industry for over 30 years, and it was just the right opportunity to go in business with him at that time.
And has the mortgage industry been something you've always wanted to do, or is that something more he was into?
He was mostly into the finance mortgage business.
And are you satisfied with that?
Very satisfied.
Before starting your business, how much time, money, and planning did it take before deciding to open your business?
The business took quite a bit of planning because you had to have a certain amount of net worth in order to own a mortgage lending business, in order to obtain warehouse lines, in order to get proper financing. You had to show a certain amount of net worth. So I had to sell my business. Once I sold that business, then we were able to open up our mortgage business because we had enough capital at that time.
So you obtained your capital through your other business?
That's correct.
And how did you obtain your original capital?
It was just through hard work, and I saved over a period of 10 years. I was fortunate where that business was successful, and I was able to put money away. And then from the funds over those years and selling the prior business, we were able to open up the mortgage business.
On the financial side, what is one negative aspect of owning your own business?
You're basically you're responsible for sales revenue. You're not depending on anyone else except for yourself. Where you're working for a job, you know you're going to get paid each week. When you own a mortgage, our particular company, you really don't know at the time when we first started out what type of revenue we were going to generate. We have business plans and business models in place, but business models is not the reality of the world. We're fortunate where things did work out. It was very slow in for the first couple of years, and then we were able to grow our business.
Is your industry pretty stable, or is it fluctuating? Do you find certain times to be more stressful than others?
It does fluctuate quite a bit. It is stressful. There's many peaks and valleys based on interest rates. That kind of dictates applications, which controls your revenue.
Okay. What is the most successful marketing tactic you've implemented within your business?
There's really not one particular marketing strategy I would say that we've used over the years. Some have been more successful than others, and marketing constantly changes. I can't speak for other industries, but just for our industry, there's certain things that constantly change every 6 months. We've tried all avenues of marketing, from telemarketing, mailers, people on the ground. Our biggest success, I would say, is just salespeople, originators. We're only as good as the people that we employ.
What is your current marketing tactic would be sales representative?
Correct.
Okay.
Loan officers in the different states that we're licensed in.
Okay, thank you. How do you use social media, if any at all, in your company currently?
We try to recruit through social media originators processors, really our support staff at our corporate office, and we try to recruit originators through social media. That may be Facebook, LinkedIn, just a variety of different sources.
Do you find that a lot different from, like, say, 10 years ago?
Absolutely. Social media has changed quite a bit. Social media can be a blessing and also a curse at the same time. People are writing bad reviews on you. Some of the stuff may be accurate, some may not be.
Overall, do you think it's better when you find employees through social media, or is it better through like a job, like monster.com or something like that?
We've had success with social media and also with Career Builder or Monster. Usually, most of the time, what works the best is just networking with people you already know or people in the industry itself.
Okay. And then as far as your legal requirements, what are some of the licensing requirements?
In our particular industry, we're regulated quite a bit. Every state, we're currently licensed about 28 states. Every state that we do business in, there's state licensing that's required. It's called the NMLS. That took several years ago, where all companies, mortgage companies, and also mortgage brokers, loan originators had to be licensed through a national database. They have to have a background check and meet certain educational requirements and continue education.
Do you do those every year, the education?
Correct. There's continuing education that's required for all loan originators. There's a minimum of 8 hours.
Okay.
Licensing is a yearly thing. It's a calendar year. That's when licenses expire.
Okay. And then how do you select potential employees that you know you can trust?
We have them do personality tests. Besides check their credit, their background, we have them do personality tests, and it seems to be very beneficial. Just to kind of get an overview of the individual, and not to say that we're going to go by 100% of the personality test, but it gives us some sort of a gauge of the individual.
Do you look for certain characteristics?
We do. And our corporate office, when we're hiring a support staff, there are certain type of characteristics that we look for. I would say one of the most important things is someone who's a team player, who's definitely willing to go above and beyond what's required in their day-to-day job.
And what kind of characteristics do you try to stay away from?
I would say characteristics, and some of the people that are not team players, very argumentative. We do like to be challenged, but if they're very argumentative and they're not willing to sometimes look what's best for the organization opposed to themselves.
Okay. How's it working with your brother as like an employee but also a co-owner?
Obviously, your work with family members is very emotional at times, but I can honestly say that I would not want anyone else besides my brother to be my partner.
And after you hire an employee, what is the process? Do they get education? Do you get training? What does that look like?
With our organization, we train everyone that comes on board. It could be anywhere from a week to 2 weeks, and everyone that comes board with we do a regular orientation the first day they're on board, continue education that's required by law, and then we put them through a training process with other support staffs in our corporation.
Okay. And when they're going through training, are they completely hired, or are there some that you're on the fence and then after training they're making a decision?
Once everyone is completely hired, before we bring someone on board, we usually have about 3 interviews with them. And that can be a variety of different, we make them take a test just to see their knowledge. And again, we don't hire anyone unless they have the correct skill set and they have experience in the industry.
Okay. And then do you evaluate your clients during the year? Like once they're hired, they've been on board. During the year, do you do evaluations with them, make sure they're progressing?
We do. Everyone's on a 90-day probation period. Then we evaluate them if we continue to go further with their employment. We also do a yearly review, and that usually includes a bonus and a pay increase based on their job description.
Okay. And then what incentives do your employees have?
It depends on the actual job itself. Just a couple of jobs like a processor, they have a regular salary, base salary, plus compensation of the loans that they close. So there's an incentive for them to close as many loans, and then their quality of work.
And then moving on to just some general questions. How has owning your business impacted your family?
It's provided me, I've been very, very fortunate and blessed. It's provided me with the opportunity to provide private education for my children for 12 years, to pay for their college, pay for this interview right now. It's provided us the financially to take vacations and a better quality of life.
So do you find it definitely a positive?
For myself, yes, I've been very, very fortunate where things have worked out for our business.
Now you mentioned financials. What about time?
Like any business, what you put into it is what you get out of it. It is very demanding. You're working more than 40 hours per week, but it's it's been very, very rewarding for myself and my partner.
That's awesome. And then are there any regrets you have?
I have no regrets whatsoever.
That's awesome. And then lastly, what is the best advice you can give someone wanting to start their own business?
Do something you feel you have a passion for. You have a desire, number one, that you have interest, and not to say you may not know what you want. And sometimes, once you get involved with the business, then that desire or that passion may grow over time. I would recommend, if you do have the opportunity to get into residual business, residual business most likely will start off slow, but the longevity, the potential longevity, being in that business for a number of years, 15, 20 years, is financially rewarding.
When you say residual?
Residual is where you have a customer base where you may pick up that customer 10 years ago and you're still receiving some sort of revenue from that client. And the compensation the most difficult part about business is your sales. One of the most important parts is your sales, constantly selling each month and generating revenue. And like I was saying, with residual income, if for instance, if the insurance field, P&C type of property and casualty type of business, I know many individuals that started off 25 years ago. In the first 3 to 5 years, they just barely made enough to get by and to feed their family. And after 15, 20 years, they were very fortunate where their business was growing and they were able to earn residual off that business, meaning they still have the clients and their business has grown. So that customer base might have started off very small, and over a period of time with hard work and the correct marketing, networking, just a variety of different marketing techniques, they were able to grow their business and they still have a solid customer base. And so the seeds that they planted 15, 20 years ago, they're reaping the rewards right now.
That's awesome advice. Well, thank you so much for taking your time out and for all your advice and information, and I appreciate all your time.
Thank you, Shannon.